swing and a drive. Right field and deep. Back goes Aquino. It's got a chance. Gone. Get out the tape measure. Long gone.
Fly the W!
Cubs fans, it's time to fly the W with Dustin Rhodes and Paul Crawley-Jean.
This is the Fly the W podcast, part of the Blue Wire Network. It is episode 346. Daniel Palencia on top of the world, Crawley. Don't forget to listen, download, subscribe, most importantly, review our podcast. Follow on the socials. You can see what I'm up to at Mully and Haw on X.
And you can follow me at Crawley's Cubs on X, Blue Sky, and TikTok, Crawley's Clubhouse on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Threads. And you can email us at crawleysclubhouse@gmail.com. And Dustin, I got to tell you, we got a great guest for segment 3 as far as the World Baseball Classic, Michael Clare. But I can tell you that tournament was something else. That was just phenomenal.
Yeah, it definitely delivered. I have a couple little technical TV issues with Fox. I actually like the MLB network broadcast better than the Fox broadcast. I'm not sure about the crowd noise. I think Fox does a terrible job with the crowd noise, and I'm not sure that pun intended. I think John Smoltz has kind of lost his fastball, or he's just not interested or something. I don't know what your thoughts were on Smoltz's performance, but it wasn't great.
I never thought John Smoltz was very good in the booth. I always thought he was just kind of a negative kind of guy, like a red ass. And this was a tournament that for pretty much most of the teams was about having fun.
Yeah.
And
he's a non-fun guy, right? Yeah.
Right. I think, he was the exact opposite of what the spirit was, whether it was, the Dominicans jumping up and down or the Italians taking shots of espresso. It was all about fun and the enjoyment of the game. And that's not really John Smoltz. Is more like, hey, in my day, we didn't do that kind of stuff. That'd get you pegged in the ribs. So no, I'm not a John Smoltz fan, just all and out in general. So
get off my lawn, kind of, All right. Yeah. All right. Well, we're on the same on that one. Yeah. I mean, I think Joe Davis is a nice guy. Just, yeah.
I mean, it's just about having fun. And I know there's a lot more fun guys out there that would just laugh and have fun and enjoy it. And just, like I said, it never seems like he enjoys his job.
Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. All right. Well, the story, though, Crawley, is Daniel Palencia. As the title reads, Daniel Palencia is on top of the world. Had another huge moment in that championship game against Team USA.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I know DeRosa had got a lot of flack, but it's got to be just an unenviable job to sit there and have managers and teams calling you up, telling you what you can and can't do. On the flip side,
part of it, right? Everybody's got to know that, and not everybody knows that. And I don't think the broadcast necessarily does a great job letting everybody know that. So everybody's not as into it as you and I are into it, right? So it's our job to let them know that the Dodgers basically picked up the phone, told Team USA, unless it's a save situation, we would prefer you not to use our guy tonight.
Yeah. And that was the thing with Daniel Palencia as well on the Venezuelan side for the championship game. He was Omar Lopez, the manager from the Venezuelans, was told Daniel Palencia only comes in a save situation. That's it.
Yep. I really don't know what the difference is. I mean, can't you hurt yourself in a non-save situation as much as you can hurt yourself in a save situation?
I think it was unless he's coming in to close out the game, they didn't want him in that game.
Right. I agree. I understand what they meant. I'm just saying I don't know how the risk is any different. That's what I find.
I guess what I'm saying is that if the game was tied, no matter what, Daniel Palencia was not coming in that game. He was only coming in that game if they had the lead.
Absolutely. Understood. Absolutely.
So, it's to me, it was just so phenomenal. And when you talk about somebody that raises their profile on the international stage, I mean, that's what Daniel Palencia did. Bryce Harper ties the game at 2 with an improbable home run. He hadn't done anything in a while. Team USA didn't do anything pretty much all night, but he ties the game.
They struck out 20 plus times or something crazy. I mean,
Right. And then Venezuela retakes the top of the ninth on an Eugenio Suarez double. Dustin, we talked to Gordo on the last episode. I'm not looking forward to the Cubs having to see that guy, 14 times in the season for Cincinnati. But he comes on, Palencia comes on to get 3 outs and lead his country to an upset over that stacked U.S. team. And with the whole world watching, he strikes out Kyle Schwarber, pops up Gunnar Henderson, and strikes out Roman Anthony to clinch the championship. The night before that, he ended Team Italy's Cinderella run, closing out Team Venezuela's 4-2 win, right? And so to me, and then before that, he saved against Japan and got Shohei Ohtani to pop out. If you look at what Daniel Palencia did in this tournament, Dustin, 5 games, he was 3 out of 3 in save opportunities. He didn't give up a hit. He walked only 1 and struck out 9 of the 17.
That's pretty good. Pretty good
strikeout rate for that. So we talked a little bit about this on the last episode. To me, Dustin, you cannot recreate what it would be like to close in a postseason game. I was at the Cubs Padres games, and I was at every playoff game basically in the last 25 years. You cannot replicate that atmosphere. And so I'm so glad that he got this opportunity to feel what postseason baseball would feel like in a supercharged atmosphere with the crowd screaming. He got to close this out. This is going to help him if the Cubs get to where we expect them to get this season. He is going to have that experience. He's going to have that confidence, and I think it's going to be a big deal.
Well, it can't hurt. That's for sure. It can't hurt. There couldn't be any better positive training. You could never have simulated that in Arizona. That's for damn sure.
Absolutely. And speaking of Arizona, the Cubs had some 2 good starts and 1 not so good start this week. On Monday against the Guardians, they were under the lights because of the heat. And so this was a fun one. They won this one.
Must be nice.
Yeah, top of the first, Matt Shaw doubles and then scored on a Miguel Amaya single. Top of the second, 1 runner on, 2 out. Backup infield, Scott Kingery hits his second home run of the spring, a 2-run blast, put the Cubs up 3-1. Remember, I said to watch this guy. Brett Bateman was hit by a pitch. He steals second and then scores on a Matt Shaw single, and Kevin Alcantara added an RBI double in the 5th. But the real story, Dustin, of the game was Cade Horton's start. After struggling in his last outing, he was dominant. He pitched 5 innings, gave up 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 10 Ks in 5 innings of work. 2 of the hits that Cade gave up were in the first inning. With 1 out, Angel Martinez tripled down the right field line. Cade got the next batter to ground out to second. Jefferson Rojas threw home, but the throw was bad. It was kind of like on the right side, like on the opposite side of the third base. So it'd be the left-handed hitter's batter's box. And so Amaya had to reach across, turn around, and when he made the tag, the runner jarred the ball out of his glove. If that was a good throw, Cade wouldn't have given up any runs. After the next batter singled, Horton would not give up any more runs. After the next batter singled, he sat down 12 of the 13 batters he faced. And here is what Cade, he talked a little bit about the outing and what he was kind of going through. Take a listen.
Felt really good. I think, tonight I wanted to work on change-ups, heaters up. Felt like I executed it well. Felt like tonight I put it all together. So yeah, it was good work. Yeah.
Your changeup in particular was really strong to lefties in particular. You got a ton of whiffs. What about it clicked in today's start?
I think just the intentionality of it. Felt like last week I made it a point to work on it in my bullpen, and then I wanted to see it come to fruition today, and it did that. Fortunate to have such a left-handed lineup today to be able to throw it as much as I did. But yeah, just getting the cue back and trying to throw it for strikes.
When you see just the overall number of whiffs you generated tonight, I know it's a spring game, but just what is that telling you about your quality of stuff overall and maybe sequencing?
Yeah, I think we did a really good job of sequencing tonight. I think we were playing a lot of stuff off of the previous pitch, and so it was good. I felt like I said tonight, I felt like we put it all together. Yeah, I mean the whiffs are cool, but I'm not up there chasing with. I'm just up there executing pitches.
So when he talks a little bit about that, we said, hey, we want to see him make any corrections he needs to make, right? As you're coming here. And this is a guy, he's on Twitter or X or whatever at TJ Stats. And what he's kind of showing you here, if you take a look at this, if you're listening, is just kind of the distribution of the pitches that he was throwing and the amount of changeups that he was throwing, 27%, but he's generating a lot of whiffs with the changeup. 73% of the time he threw that, he got a whiff, right? And so, Dustin, I think for me, one of the big stories of this year as we kind of look into this, Cade Horton last year was on a pitch count, right? They were being very careful with him. And so he knew that he had X amount of pitches and he was out of the game. Now, he was pitching, I believe, a lot to contact, because the more you pitch to contact, the less pitches you're going to use. You strike out a lot of guys, your
Correct.
pitch count's going to go up. That's just is what it is. So it's going to be interesting to see. Like, I feel like just when I saw him last year, I was like, oh, he's good, really good pitcher. He's getting outs, but I didn't see the strikeouts. I'm wondering if we're going to see something different this year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. If he's not hunting for strikeouts more, right? Pitching for contact, being efficient, doesn't mind being, the strikeouts are nice and everything, but if he wants to be efficient and stay in the games longer, he's going to have to do what you just mentioned.
But sometimes it's not bad to miss bats, right? So, like, let's say the wind's blowing out. Maybe he does just sit there and say, I'm going to try to strike every guy out I could strike out. That to me is the curious thing to see if what else is in Cade's bag of tricks. And Cade did talk about the bad start last time. Here's what he said.
Yeah, it feels really good. I think, last week got hit around a little bit. I think, I feel like I put a good work week together. And so to see, the work I put in the middle of the week, to today, like, I feel like it's really cool to see what you're working on, come to you in the game.
From what everybody says, this guy is a hard worker and a good listener, right? And so there were some things that he had to work on. He worked on them and he got to see the results. And I think that speaks really highly. And I am so looking forward to seeing Cade Horton pitch a full season for the Cubs.
Yeah, a very coachable young man. Always faces the music, good or bad, with the media after the games, Crawley. So that's something else that, at least as a fan and as least somebody in the media that you can, really, really appreciate from somebody, like that.
Yep. And on Tuesday night, the Cubs took on the Angels. They beat them 8-6. They brought out the big lumber, Dustin. They scored 8 runs on 14 hits. They get on the board with the second. Michael Conforto hits a leadoff double, followed by Carson Kelly hitting his third spring training dinger. Dustin, I'm not going to lie. I wasn't like sitting here studying Carson Kelly's stats before he came to the Cubs last year.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like he's impressed me in so many ways, and I don't know what's going to happen. This is just spring training, but it just seems like he's picking up where he left off last year.
He had he had an unbelievable year, right? Nobody expected him to be the everyday catcher. Right now it looks like he's the starting catcher over Amaya, correct?
Yeah, you'd have to say that. I think there's going to be, they're going to kind of talk to the pitchers.
50 split. Okay.
I think they're going to talk to the pitchers and kind of see what they're feeling and how it works. And you might see certain pitchers with certain catchers. I'm very curious to see. And then again, what does it look like as far as who's pitching, right? Who has the better offensive numbers? But it's a good problem to have. Moises Ballesteros followed Kelly's home run with a back-to-back jacks, a majestic solo home run, Dustin, 108 off the bat, exit velocity, traveled 441 feet. Cubs scored 3 more in the 5th. Dansby hit an RBI double. Carson Kelly singled, and Mo Baller walked to load the bases. Dylan Carlson hit an RBI single, and Pedro Ramirez grounded out to score another run. Carson Kelly, big day, 3 for 4 with that home run we talked about, and 3 RBIs. Moises Ballesteros, 2 for 3, a walk, and 2 home runs. After that 441-foot home run, he hit one 423 feet in the next at bat. He's hitting 367 with a 1020 OPS during Cactus League play. Moises has done everything that you've asked. He's performed.
He should be just fine as the DH. I don't know why there's still like, oh, we'll see. We're not so sure. Craig is kind of tiptoeing around it. He's not really saying that it's his job just yet.
Again, looking to try to find at bats for Matt Shaw and other things. This is going to be tricky. It's going to be tough. All Moises can do is keep hitting. Make the manager's decision tough. Make him pull you out, right? And I'm going to say it again. I think the guy can catch. I think his catching is underrated. Dustin, one of the big things about catching, and this was the big knock on Wilson Contreras, is framing pitches, stealing pitches. That's still going to be a part of the game. That's not going away.
Well, not completely, but a little bit, right? Because of the new system in place.
A little bit. It is going away a little bit. And I'm wondering now how much you have to weigh that pitch framing ability versus what the catcher can do at the plate. So I'm just curious how the Cubs are going to play that out. Another exciting
kind of measurement. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Another exciting aspect of the game was a brilliant start by Shota Imanaga. Like Cade Horton the night before, Shota had his best start of the spring. He went 4 2/3 innings, gave up 1 hit, 1 run, a solo home run, 1 walk, had 8 Ks, had 25 whiffs. His 25 whiffs were the most by any pitcher in a game this spring.
Isn't that amazing? That's an amazing, that really made me say, wow, that stat, Crowley. When I read that the other night, that was like, wow.
I mean, everything was working, especially the splitter and the sweeper. If you look at the whiffs on that, I mean, you're talking 60%, 80%. I mean, this is every time he was throwing those pitches, the breaking stuff was just, they couldn't hit it. His stuff was absolutely electric. And so this is Shota, from the interpreter, what he had to say about his outing.
So we're getting close to the season. So today, making sure I'm improving on all my pitches, getting foul tips, getting swing and misses on all of them. I've been using the pitch count myself and communicating with Carson on the mound. And I think really today is more of, Carson studying the hitters, looking at their swings, and deciding what sequence to go with. So I think today's outing showed how great of a catcher he is.
Dustin, we talked about how, are we worried about these pitchers or this pitchers? I think your first couple starts, you're working on things, put the ball here, try this pitch here. You're not sitting here doing scouting reports of hitters, right? Like a lot of times when you're talking about, or every time when you're talking in the regular season, they come up with a scouting report. They come with a game plan before the game. This is how we're going to approach this guy. This is how we're going to approach that guy. You don't do that the first couple of weeks of spring training, but it sounds like Shota was saying that's what he does. And he was saying that I have a feeling that Shota and Carson are really going to be the ones calling this game through the pitch comm. I think at least Menaker showed it that he has it in the glove this year, kind of where his pitch comm is. So this is going to be interesting to watch. And I think Shota is going to constantly be throwing to Carson Kelly or throwing the majority of the time to Carson Kelly. Seems like they got a good relationship. And Dustin, do you remember when Shota was just getting rocked last year and he said, I failed? And you're just going like, oh my God, what is going on? What's happened to this guy?
Right. Yeah. He was down in the dumps.
He was asked about confidence. Here's what he said.
I think confidence, it's something that other people can't really tell, but just by looking at you, it's something that you have within yourself. And I think for me, I really keep in mind that no matter, if I have a good start or bad start, I'll come into the clubhouse with the same expression, same mood. And so I think for me, it's just, just overall, I'm just thankful for the great teammates I have, and I think that helps with my confidence.
Confidence say Shota is going to be a good Shota. I'm happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
He just seems like he's carrying himself.
Now it's all about the next start, right? Everything's a building.
Yeah. It's just from how lost he looked last year and how defeated he looked to just looking at his body language and how he looks on the mound. It's night and day, The last game was a disaster, a stinker. I don't know what happened. Maybe it was the day game. Who knows? The Cubs lose 16-8. This game was bad and weird and didn't make any damn sense.
Bad and weird.
Yeah. Let's talk about the good, right? Top of the third was a lot of fun. Matt Shaw doubled and scored on a Miguel Amaya single. Dustin, I like Shaw in front of Amaya. I don't know what it is. It reminds me. You remember last season when PCA was hitting in front of Amaya and they were scoring all these runs at the bottom of the order?
Yep.
I kind of feel like I want to see Shaw hitting in front of Amaya. I know there's probably gonna be a tendency maybe to put Shaw in the 9 spot because then you kind of roll over with like the double pinch hitter or double leadoff man type thing. But I want to see Shaw get on, maybe steal bases in front of Amaya and see what happens. I think that could be a lot of fun. Not only that, Jefferson Rojas, we've been talking about Pedro Ramirez, Jefferson Rojas hit a grand slam. So he's been a lot of fun to watch this spring. And the Cubs would score 3 more in the top of the 8th. El Jaguar, Kevin Alcantara hit a 2-run blast, his first of the spring. Dustin, he went 3 for 4 in his slash in 355, 412, 516. He's been on fire lately. Jonathan Long also hit his first home run. They went back to back. Looks like he's recovering nicely from that elbow injury. Gavin Hollowell pitched a clean inning with a strikeout, but now we got to look at the bad. I heard you talking about this morning on the Mully and Haw show, but I think it was Gabe and you had Gabe Ramirez and what's her name?
Ruthie Polinsky this morning.
Yeah, and you were talking, and I think you brought up the point. I was thinking the same thing. Everyone's pretty much had 2 or 3 good starts and 1 clunker, and this was Cabrera's clunker. He had looked phenomenal.
That was his clunker, all right. That was his clunker. He was due, I guess.
But let's put it this way. There again, remember when we were talking about Cade Horton being like, sometimes the box score doesn't tell the whole story. And it's frustrating that we can't watch the games and see it. So basically you have to like piece things together bit by bit. He gave up 8 runs, 7 earned on 7 hits, 2 home runs, 1 walk, and 4 Ks. But it didn't help that his defense was piss poor and that he was pulled out mid-inning and returned to pitch the following inning. Let me break this down here. He gave up an unearned run in the first after Matt Shaw made the first of 2 errors in right field, right? And so he makes an error in the first inning, and that would allow Corbin Carroll to score on a sac fly. It was just a small ball. It was a ball that hit off the glove of Matt Shaw. Corbin Carroll's really fast. He made it to second, made it to third on a ground out, scores on a sac fly. There's nothing Cabrera could do about that, And so that's 1 run right there. And then he gets a clean second. He got Jorge Barosa to pop out, but then Jefferson Rojas on the next batter. There's a ball that's hit, kind of one of those tweeners it looked like, but Jefferson Rojas gave up on it really quickly, and Kevin Alcantara was playing too deep, and Barosa got credited with a single, but that should have been an out right there, Dustin. It shouldn't have been a hit, right? And so that would have been the first out. Instead, Cabrera would get a force out, but then he gave up a 2-run homer. That's on him to Alec Thomas, but it should have been a solo home run, right?
Right.
He strikes out Perdomo. He walked Nolan Arenado, and then he's pulled from the game. So he's got 1 on. He's pulled from the game, and then Grayson Moore comes into the game. Grayson Moore, after this performance, ERA went to 81, Dustin. He gave up a single, a walk, a bases loaded walk, a wild pitch to score a run, and a 2-run double before getting pulled by Counsell. So another run that was charged to Cabrera was because this guy completely lost it.
Yeah.
So that's another run right there. Now,
if you don't see the game, it's different. I mean, if you don't see what happened, if you don't dig into the box score, you think it's all on him.
Right. And then Dawson Nets had to finish the inning because Moore couldn't get out of it. So Cabrera then, he then comes back out again in the bottom of the 4th. That's one of those weird spring training rules where a guy can come in afterwards. And so what they're trying to do there is they're trying to build up his pitch count, but you don't want a guy throwing if he's struggling 30 pitches in an inning, right? If you're feeling like, okay, this guy's pitched enough, you could take him out and bring him back. So that's what they do. And then from there, he gives up a home run to Corbin Carroll, strikes out Alex Thomas, gives up back-to-back doubles and a single before getting pulled for the second time of the game. Then, those 2 runs were definitely earned on Cabrera. His day's done. Dawson Nets comes on for the second time of the game as well. He gives up another 4 runs, one of those charged to Cabrera as well. So if you think about it, Cabrera truly gave up 3 earned runs, but sloppy defense and bullpen guys giving up inherited runs accounted for additional 5 runs. Now, I'm not saying he gave up a couple homers, he gave up a couple doubles, but if those guys made the plays behind him, it looks a lot different.
Could have been a whole lot different. It looks a lot different. Yep. Good point. These are solid points, Crowley. That's why you're good at this, buddy.
The weird Ben Brown, who looked really good as a starter, came in and pitched in 1 inning in relief. He got the leadoff batter to ground out, gave up 3 straight singles, bases loaded. He strikes out the next 2 batters. So kind of like I said, it's just we've been used to him starting and looking really good. And then now he's got to go back into the bullpen. He pitches an inning. He looked okay. I mean, he got the 2 strikeouts.
Yeah, you wonder what he's going to start in the bullpen, right?
I really don't know. I loved the other day. What was it with Cade Horton and Colin Ray? Like just the 2 guys pitched 9 innings. I would prefer something more like that than just seeing 1 inning of Ben Brown.
Maybe him and Seiya get together or something like that.
Whoever, like whenever, you know how this goes. Your first start, You're going to get a pitch count to about 65, 70 pitches. Then have Ben Brown come in and throw 67, a clean inning. Don't have him come in in the middle. If you want to get a reliever, come in, fine. But then have Ben Brown start the 6th.
I mean, in the new clean inning. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would like to see.
Right. Little update on Seiya, right? We got some news finally.
Yeah, he has a sprained posterior cruciate ligament. While receiving treatment, Craig says Suzuki can still do baseball activities, though it's unclear if he'll be able to start the season. Seiya was asked about his injury.
Yeah, I've been trying to move it around. It's been 3 days, but it seems like every day it's getting better. I think I wasn't expecting anything like this. So it's going to be day by day, seeing where the pain level's at. And then, once it dissipates, start getting my body ready.
It sounds like this is something that worst case scenario avoided, Dustin.
Worst case scenario avoided. I think right now they got some pretty good depth right now. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe let him sit out the first homestand and see where he's at that first weekend out in Cleveland against the Guardians. Maybe you let him DH, maybe you let him pinch hit or something. Wouldn't put him out in right field right away.
I think he would go on the IL is my opinion. I think he's going to start the season on the IL and maybe take a couple weeks, maybe come mid-April, come up.
All right. So more viewing options on Marquee, huh? If you've got certain services, you'll be able to pick up Marquee.
Yeah, I do want to say one more thing about Seiya. He did learn from this experience. Here's what he said.
The next day, you just turn the page and it happened. So you just need to figure out what you have to do and take it day by day. But, I promised myself I'm never going to slide at first.
How about it, right? Don't slide head first. Thank you, Seiya. That was the ugliest, worst slide. I never want to see it again. And I think that Seiya had promised himself if he saw a replay of that, he's like, yeah, let's not do that again.
No, I mean, when he got up, he just looked absolutely miserable. Yeah, I mean, that was awful.
Like you mentioned, some viewing options.
Marquee.
From Marquee Network. So, Dustin, there are certain TVs, actually the one right behind me, that TCL, doesn't have a Marquee app. It's not in the store. So there's certain TVs that don't have it. So if you have Amazon or Hulu TV, live TV, you can stream Marquee through that. So even though this TV behind me doesn't have Marquee, the app, I can stream Marquee through that TV on Amazon or Hulu Live TV if you have either.
I have a question though. So Amazon, let's go back to Amazon. So I have an Amazon Prime account.
Mm-hmm.
I get Marquee with that?
No, you do not. You have to pay the $20.
Okay, so you pay the $20 and you watch it through Amazon.
Yes, correct. So if you went on this TV, Dustin,
so what's the advantage? What's the advantage then? Why not just have the app? Because you can throw it through the TV. I mean,
when I go, you can if you want to screencast it. I guess you could screencast it, mirror it on your TV. But a lot of times when I'm watching the game, I'm tweeting stuff out. I'm talking to friends. I'm doing things, And so for me, if I go on this TV and I search the App Store for the Marquee app, I'd find nothing. Nothing would come up.
Okay.
But all the basics come up: Netflix, Hulu, Prime, all that stuff. So if you have Hulu, if you have Prime,
it's preset.
It's within the Prime app, and so you can watch it through the Prime app once you put in your code from Marquee. So it's just a couple more viewing options. But when you look at it, Xfinity, you got to get the top tiers now to get CHSN and Marquee and pretty much any sports. DirecTV, I heard, is the best. Fubo's pretty good. Spectrum, Astound Media, and it's streaming on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, Hulu, Prime Video. But again, Dustin, a lot of this has to do where you live and the blackouts and all that fun stuff. But some options for Cub fans, because guess what, Dustin? In 1 week, you're going to have real games to watch on TV.
And listen to on 104.3 and crystal clear FM quality, Crawley. Don't forget about that.
Or both.
This is the Fly the W podcast, part of the Blue Wire Network, or both. It is episode number 346. Daniel Palencia, he's on top of the world. And of course, you're listening to the Fly the W podcast. You can listen, download, review, subscribe. 5-star review. We'll take them. Email us, Crawley's Clubhouse at gmail.com. And don't forget, you can watch on Crawley's Clubhouse YouTube page, as some of you are already doing. In this segment, Crawley is talking to Michael Clare of MLB.com, who attended all the World Baseball Classic games down in Miami. He's discussing the semifinal and the championship games and some of the highlights of a classic tournament. All right, Crawley, as we mentioned, opening day is a week from Thursday, the 26th day of March. So there's not a whole lot of spring training games left on the schedule, correct?
Well, not much. Today's an off day when we're recording this on Thursday. Friday, Cincinnati, there's nothing Chicago, so you may be able to find it through Cincinnati radio stations, which is what I've been doing, is finding the opposing team's radio and playing it through the MLB Game Day app. On Friday, March 20th, the Cubs take on the Athletics, and that is going to be on Marquee. Saturday, an interesting day of baseball. At about 3 p.m. local time, the Cubs are taking on Seattle. That game will be on Marquee and 104.3 The Score. I don't know who's calling that one. And then at night, 8:05, the spring breakout, the Cubs prospects versus the San Diego prospects, will be on Marquee. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then on Sunday, Dustin, the Cubs are taking on Milwaukee, 2:05 local time on Marquee and again on The Score. So we're going to have plenty of baseball to watch this weekend.
Very good. And then they'll be coming back. They'll do a little practice over at the friendly confines. And then
they're going to have two practice. They're going to have two practice games against the Yankees Monday, Tuesday. But my guess is that the majority of the players that are going to be at opening day are not going to probably be around, at least for the Tuesday game.
Yeah, I would not think so. I think your assumption, your educated guess, Crawley, is right on point. That's a wrap. Don't forget to listen, download, review, subscribe to the Fly the W podcast. Email us your thoughts, questions, concerns, Crawley's Clubhouse at gmail.com. And you can watch us by subscribing to the Crawley's Clubhouse YouTube page. We got at least one more podcast coming your way before we get to the home opener and the opening day of baseball. That, of course, is the 26th of March, a Thursday.
And it's so good because, Dustin, this is my 26th straight Wrigley Field home opener. I'm excited. Wow. 1 week from today, I'm going to be going all around Wrigleyville. I'll give you the detailed plans next time we talk. But my goal, Dustin, is to make it to 50 Wrigley opening days. That is my dream, and I'm going to achieve it, damn it. Go Cubs!
It's all over.